Well, hey, hello and welcome back. My name is Still Not, and today we're covering yet again another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this video, I said let's be more positive about the issues that are still going on. We have to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is the champion design. So one credit that I will always give to Raid is the champion design that they are having and going on. So what I would like to say here is we are going to categorize the Banner Lords first. The first faction, the Banner Lords. We're gonna categorize the champions based on the aesthetics, on the looks. We're gonna categorize all of them, including the commons and also the uncommons, rares, and so on and so forth. So let's go on. First, what I would like to say from the common section, I believe the ones that look the best here are by far the Bandit. You might be surprised about this guy. So he has one ability, which is attack one enemy, place a 30% decreased defense buff for one turn. It's not a bad champion. It only has one ability, but it's a common, so it's okay. Very easy to book since it's a common. One thing that I would like to say, his outfit looks good. So based on aesthetics, this guy looks okay. He's a bandit, alright? One thing that I would like to add here, he has no string on the bow, even though he looks like he's just trying to shoot something. But nonetheless, his outfit very, very good looking, with a dagger on there, with the arrows, everything about this hero looks okay. Maybe the boots, not. Axeman, very cool looking common champion. Let's see his ability. He attacks one enemy, has a 30% of placing, a 25% decreased accuracy debuff for one turn. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense, even though he's an HP based champion, which is kind of bad, but it's alright. For a common champion, he also looks good with the outfit. He has a tunic, he also has some gauntlets going on here. The boots are just okay, and also he has a helmet. Not sure what is going on with his right eye, but it's okay. We can fix that later. Okay, the Pike man. Man, I don't really like his outfit, mainly because he should be a frontline hero if we're talking about a war situation. Not gonna happen. This stuff is not gonna happen in Raid Shadow Legends. Don't worry. His weapon is kind of cool. The design is okay. He's apparently been shot, not shot, maybe slashed on the eye, which the right eye is just now white. He has also a scar going on. His hat resembles usually a pikeman hat, but also a common archer hat from the medieval days. His outfit has quite a lot going on. A pouch for gold, a dagger, I believe, or maybe a poker, and a small satchel. Quite interesting, quite interesting. So attack one enemy has a 50% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn. It's alright. Swordsman, this guy, he's face. His face is he looks like a general who usually just sits around eating a whole pig while his army is just dying outside in war. His armor looks kind of cool, even though I'm not sure why he has no additional plates, armor plates going into the right foot, right leg. Also on the bottom, he might get a stab from a pikeman on the bottom and he will be dead. Not a lot of armor going on. He definitely has more armor than the previous three, but he is a cool design. Moving on to the uncommon section, we have the frontline warrior. Same as the previous one, he has a lot of armor, but not covering the bottom and the right leg. But this time we have some sort of a pattern on the armor, which resembles a griffin. I believe it's a griffin. He also have a slightly better leather helmet. I'm not sure how that will stop an arrow. His gauntlets are okay. His sword is, I believe, the same. Yeah, it's the same sword. So it's a reused model. Also, let's talk about abilities here. Attack one enemy 2 times, has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased defense. So it's a double attack. Okay, the frontline warrior attacks one enemy. Okay. Place a 25% ally protection buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Grants an extra turn. So it's not a bad ability, but it's on 4 turns cooldown for a uncommon champion. Let's say it's decent, okay? Fireblade. Let's see what is going on with this lady. I like the weapon already. I'm not sure what it was called. I don't think it's a Javelier. Not sure. Her armor, well, not covering a lot. So yeah, it's okay, I guess. One thing that I would like to add is covering her right arm where she uses the main weapon, which is okay in case somebody will try to slash the or sever the arm. It will be blocked by the armor depending on how strong the enemy is. But yeah, not a lot of armor. It's okay, just attack one enemy, place a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. If this attack is critical, attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 2.5 poison debuff for 2 turns. And this is on a 3 turns cooldown. Not bad, not bad. So if you're having an army of these girls, you can just go with Giant Slayer and you're gonna have a poison debuff. You're just gonna be alright on the clan boss. But I don't recommend usually enchanting these champions, even though she has a great... For an uncommon champion, she has a lot of health here. Her speed is not okay, but it's good. It's good. For an uncommon champion, that is okay. Squire, I really like how this guy is just going on. But I mean here, he has a lot of armor. He even has a chainmail hoodie. I believe it's a hoodie. His weapon is just a standard halberd. I'm not sure how you pronounce that weapon, but it's the one that looks like this. Understandable. The one thing that his shoulders and feet are not very protected. So his arms and also feet will be a very bad option if you just cut them. Apart from that, he even has a sword on the back, the same pattern, the same. I believe this is an octopus design on his belly. I'm not sure. Let's see the ability. Does attack one enemy base of defense. He's a defense champion. Good. Attacks all enemies at a 30% chance of placing 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. It's okay. And also on a 3 turns cooldown. Okay, easy to book, easy to go. Commander. First abilities. Attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. So this can be booked for at least at 25? Oh, not good. Heals the ally with the lowest HP by 40% of this champion's HP. Completely fills the target's turn meter. If the ally is fully healed, this champion's turn meter cannot be filled by the skill. Not a bad skill. Also, the heal is increasing. And it's on a 3 turn cooldown. Good. Also with her, I believe, yeah, she has a whole set of armor. Even the plate on the helmet will just slide on. She will just be completed. Sorry for my bad English. Okay, everything going good except the back. She has armor for the weaker parts of her body, except for the bottom and the front. But I believe that's for better movement, which is okay. She has a cool design, a very good armor. Moving on, Duelist. Let's see, attacks one enemy, heals by 20% of the damage inflicted. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. On a 2 turn cooldown. That's okay, that's actually good. So, yeah, not a lot of armor. Not a lot of armor here. I like the mini shield. even though it could be a big shield on her left arm, but whatever. I like the armor that she has going on, also including the arm here, the right arm with the shoulder blade. Not a lot of armor, but it's okay. She's a duelist. Word Bearer. Attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a 25% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. That's okay. Place a 30% increased defense buff on allies for 2 turns. So if you don't have a good option, it could be a 2-turn cooldown if you're just booking it. And also you'll have 2 turns on 2 turns, which means you will have a constant increased defense buff on allies if you're just going to ascend this champion. She looks good, very good. I like the gold armor design. She has a cool banner pattern on her chest plate, also on the back plate. With a helmet, also good design. Red and gold, always going good with the red, gold, and black. Stalwart. Let's see. Attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a block active skill debuff for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 25% of chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. So it's a good character. I also like his design. His helmet looks awesome, to be honest. His whole kit is looking good. He also has a dagger here. What else can we say? His armor looks good. He also have armor on his feet, which is okay. So this is a very good looking champion. Archer, let's see here. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Has a 50% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Fill this champion turn meter by 50% if the attack is critical. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Has a 10% of placing a 15% decreased speed debuff for 1 turn. So it's a 3-turn cooldown, because you also have 1 cooldown reduction here on level 3, which is okay. So she is a pretty good champion if you're just going for the spider. Not a lot of armor, but she's an archer, which is understandable. She has armor on her legs, apparently for not getting slashed there. Also on the chest plate. Not a lot of armor on the back, not a lot of armor on the front, especially on the arms, but that will just decrease her accuracy with the bow. Also this bow, no string attached. Dagger. So I believe this is one of the most underrated champions. I have fully ascended my own personal dagger since I got her, and she's dealing crazy damage to the clan boss. To be honest, she's dealing a lot of damage. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each critical hit decreases the target's turn meter by 4%. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Has a 50% of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff instead if the target is under a decreased defense debuff. And increased ally attack and fashion crypt by 20%. So Dagger has a very good armor. She is probably an assassin by the looks of it. She also has a small crossbow on the back, a small shield on the shoulder blade. Her helmet looks insane. Her kit and armor look very good. So she's a very cool champion. If you get Dagger, I would suggest just to play around with her, test her, and see how well she's doing. As you can see, she has a lot going on, so she has very good ratings. Maybe not on the arena defense, but overall she's a very cool champion. One thing that I noticed is that my cursor was not recorded, so this time I'm just gonna make sure that it is Steadfast Marshal. Whatever, let's see. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if the target's HP percentage is lower than this champion's HP. Places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns, grants an extra turn. Places a veil buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. So his damage is based on HP, which is good because he's an HP based champion. And also he has a lot of HP going on for a rare champion. His design Very cool, very cool. Not a lot of armor going on the right hand. We usually, you should have armor on the right hand since you're just beating up the opponents with that right hand mace you got there. Very cool design, very good armor. His helmet looks very good. Also, his shoulder blade has a lot of spikes. Not sure for what, maybe for bashing the people that are just getting in his way. Vanguard. Attacks one enemy, places a 30% decreased defense debuff for one turn if the target's defense is lower than this champion's. Okay. Attacks one enemy, places a provoke debuff for one turn if the target is under a decreased defense debuff. Decreases the duration of all buffs on the attackers when hit. Increase allied resist in all battles by 30. Very good champion. I believe his aura is cool. If you don't have an arena team yet, you can just place this guy so you can make sure you're not getting stunned, poison, freeze, or any of that good stuff. His defense is very good for a rare champion. So yeah, overall Vanguard is looking okay. His shield is just good. They made sure his animation is not just going inside a shield, so they just cut a part of the shield, which is okay. That's attention to detail. His weapon looks kind of slim, so this is one kind of a weapon you can just poke people, not mainly for a upfight. But he also have a small dagger on this side. The armor, good. Shoulder blades protection, good. Chevalier has a very cool armor design. He also have an axe. He has a sword, a shield pattern. Looks like a revolution sign. Maybe he's a revolutionist. Not sure. Very cool patterns, very good color scheme. Not sure about the red here, but maybe that's the only option they had. Attacks at one enemy 2 times, has a 25% chance of repeating the attack. Will ignore block damage and shield buffs. So this is very okay for a defense-based champion. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. Places a 30% increased defense buff on all allies. And a 7.5 continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns English. Increases allied defense infection creeps by 19%. So this is a very cool support champion, especially with this skill. Too bad it's a 4 turn cooldown. This one is on a 3 turn cooldown. But if you're having this with a 20% chance of repeating the attack, you can just go with Relentless and he will do a lot of damage. And he will have a 38% chance of repeating this attack again and again and again. Believing the 20% from this skill is just stacking with the 18% from the Relentless gear. So if you have that 38% chance, there's a lot of attacks this guy will do. Alright, now moving on. Berger, whatever, his weapon. Yeah, his name is his weapon. So this guy, not a lot of shoulder blades. His armor is looking good. His design overall is looking okay. Not a bad looking champion. Also apparently has some sort of a gold plating along the armor. His helmet is looking good. So what do you have? Attack one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. So if you have a low HP opponent in arena and he has a block damage debuff for 2 turns or 3 turns, not sure what legendary is doing that. I believe it was one of the, I believe it was Rushcard the Tower maybe, or the Black Knight, I'm not sure. You can go and just kill him instantly. Increase critical damage by 40%. So if you're going with a crit damage, with a savage build and crit rate build, you're gonna do a lot of damage with this guy. Conqueror, you're getting this guy if you're just farming the, I believe that was the level 1 in the campaign. Let's see what you have. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Attacks one enemy, removes 2 random buffs from the target. Attacks one enemy. Enemy kills by this skill cannot be revived, which is good for the spider in Doom Tower. Attacks all increase attack in all battles by 18%, which is good. So this guy is very easy to book since you're getting him very fast. And oh my, this skill on a 3 turns cooldown and a lot of damage going on, this will be a rampage. So very good champion. If you just want to increase your chance of just completing the Doom Towers, you can just go with this guy. Moving on, we'll have this guy. Yeah, this guy. Also the same design with the shield, so the animation is not going inside the shield. The Pike, same thing. You cannot just bash somebody with a high hammer side because the Pike will just bend over. Let's see. Has a small dagger, very cool looking armor. Shoulder blades protecting, but on the legs, you can see he has no armor on the inside. If you're sneaking a peek inside this skirt of his, you can see he has not a lot of armor going on. So he's just a robe. So if somebody's slashing his legs, he will be done for it. Attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff on the target for 1 turn. Places a block debuffs buff on us and a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns. Attack one enemy, will ignore defense if the target has less than 50% HP. Damage increases accordingly to this champion's max HP. Increase HP in arena battles by 25%. So it's not a very bad aura. Also his A3 is very good, but he's on a 6 turn cooldown without any decrease. Oh, that is just plain insane, dude. So I believe this guy will be in trouble. Questor. Let's see what this guy has first. Attacks one enemy, inflicts 30% extra critical damage if this champion has less than 50% HP. Attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased crit damage buff on all allies if this attack is critical. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of removing 2 buffs from the target. On a 4 turn cooldown, on a 3 turn cooldown, and this with extra damage. So if you're building this guy with extra crit damage and crit rate, he will deal a lot of damage. Bombardier. Let's see what this guy. Okay, first, his armor is looking insane. I forgot to say about this. And also a great sword. Usually champions with huge weapons are dealing a lot of damage with great swords, war hammers, and stuff like that. But not mainly in this game. His helmet is looking very awesome. His pattern. Also, is that a kraken? Yeah, I believe that's an octopus or a kraken. Not sure. He's. Okay, he has a lot of tentacles going on here. Oh well, anyway. Bombardier, let's see, attack one enemy, has a 5% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. On a 50% chance? 15%? Oh, that's not good. Attacks one enemy, places a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns if the attack is critical. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 2.5 poison debuff for 2 turns. So you're going at 75%, also with a 3 turns cooldown. Not bad, not bad. He looks okay. He also have a sword and a shield in case he will need to fight melee, not only with the crossbow. His main weapon is the crossbow. I don't see the trigger on the crossbow from where he's shooting, but maybe that's just me. Courtier, let's see. Attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of removing 1 random buff from the target. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Has a 33% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, which is good. On a 4 turn cooldown, and this one on a 3 turn cooldown. A very good champion apparently for Spider, maybe. I would believe I would use him in Spider, just that. His armor, very cool looking. He is some sort of a pikeman frontline hero, or maybe the ones that are stopping the horses from charging. He is a very good looking champion. I don't prefer the color pink, but maybe that's his banner color, so I'm not gonna judge it. Preserver, let's see, attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 15% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Places a 7.5 continuous heal buff and a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's max HP. Attacks one enemy, has a 75 chance of placing a freeze debuff for 1 turn. And increase ally HP in all battles by 70%. So she has good aesthetics, especially the shield. The shield looks very good. I like the shield design, especially with the light just going on the shield. Also, she has a small shield here. Oh, this looks kind of cute. But apart from that, not a lot of armor going on. I expected more armor on the legs, since she's mainly a knight. Also, no helmet, she's just having her hair like that, okay. Her weapon, I don't believe this weapon will do a lot of damage. Oh, maybe to the bones, but not to kill somebody. Myrmidon? Mermaid Man! Yes, we're gonna go with Mermaid Man. So Mermaid Man, let's see. Attacks one enemy has a 20% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if the target has higher max HP than this champion. Attacks all enemies has a 60% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies for 2 turns. Places a 15% continuous heal buff on this champion for 2 turns. Increase ally defense in dungeons by 20%. Not bad, not bad. I like his axe. His axe looks very good. Armor, he has a lot of armor going on. If you're just looking at it, this guy is stacked. His shield design looks okay. One thing that I would like to add is very dirty. Maybe he went into a lot of battles. Or maybe he was just tripping all over the place and just falling in mud and stuff like that, since he's very dusty and muddy. Overall, this champion, very cool, very good looking. Brown and gold, good armor, good armor. Moving on. Grandmaster. Let's see, attacks one enemy 3 times. Attacks one enemy has a 30% chance of placing a 25% decreased attack debuff on the target for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Attacks one enemy has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff on the target for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. And increase magic ally HP in all battles by 70%. I believe this skill is the best one from him. If you're just going Giant Slayer and 5 Grandmasters, you're just gonna destroy maybe the normal bosses. Maybe the bosses are normal, the clan boss are normal. Apart from that, I'm not sure. His design looks very good. His skill set is okay, not the best. I'm not sure how the shield is supposed to help you with this weapon, but you know, maybe he will just use it as bashing skulls. If he has spikes on the weapon going on, so maybe the spikes will help on his quest to prevent the evil from going over Thalia. Moving on, Valerie. She is a very good champion. You will get her for free, I believe, if you're just playing the game. She's very easy to ascend because you can just farm her. Attacks one enemy. Increase the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Also decreases the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn. Places a 25% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Very good. I'm sorry for my English. I'm just very sleepy, bad, and also sick. Places a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield depends on this champion's level. Heals each ally according to the number of buffs they currently are under. So you're getting a lot of shield and also the heal depends on the buffs. So if you're going with somebody that buffs the champions a lot, let's say Arbiter maybe, if you have her and nobody else, you can go with Valerie and you're gonna have a lot of shield. Increase LHP infection crits by 22%, which is good. So, not a lot of armor on the front, on the back. Shoulder blade, yes. Shoulder blade left, no. But she has a shield, a very cool looking shield though. You can see on the shield she went into a lot of battles. She probably won a lot of battles. I'm not sure why the females on this game have high heals. I cannot imagine a high heal champion just walking and smacking everybody with a mace. Preferably, if you think of it like a girl like her running with a mace and just going bashing skulls, yeah, very comedic, very comedic. Crossbow Man. Attacks one enemy, has a 15% chance of placing an extra hit. Very good. Places a 30% increased crit rate buff on the target ally for 2 turns, grants an extra turn. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, and also has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. A very good champion. Just put a relentless gear on him and he will go nuts. Very good champion. Apparently this is on a 5-turn cooldown. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. It's okay. Ursula the Mourner. So as a design for this guy, he is okay. He is okay. I'm not just gonna go in detail. He has a small pouch here, and also the bundle of bolts and a satchel. That's the only difference from the other crossbowman. Now, you! Ursula the Mourner, as you can see on her face, she cried so many times that she's already rusting. I believe this is a mask, not her actual face, because you will have rust on the mask if you're just crying from the inside. If this is her face, maybe that's just her makeup, just dripping. A very good shield. I like the shield, especially the design. It's small, but it's okay. A spear, which is a good weapon. She also has a sword on the back. A small satchel. Let's say it's a satchel, a backpack. Not a backpack. It's a satchel on the back. Maybe in case of emergency. And that's a mask. Oh, I believe that's the mask she's putting on her face. The mask is kind of floating, but it's okay. The champion design looks good. Armor based, she apparently has a lot of armor going on. So you can see only metal on her. Yep, that's a lot of armor. Let's see, attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Good. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Also place a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Revive all dead allies with 75% HP, then fills their turn meter by 50%. Also places a 60% increased defense buff on a 25% and a 25% strength buff on all allies for 3 turns. I believe she's one of the better epics. Increase ally speed in Doom Tower battles by 24%. So she might be a dedicated Doom Tower champion. But this skill is very good. I'm not saying this one is not. This one is alright. But this one is the best. Warcaster. So, the same as with the other one, with the Marshal. Good armor, great looking champion, except for the right shoulder blade missing. Also, I believe that... okay, yeah, that's the only thing. This guy is stacked as well. Let's see his kit. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target. Good. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Places a block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown, and this is on a 3-turn cooldown. Increases void ally crit rate in all battles by 23%. So if you have an all void team, this guy is a great addition. Azure. I have this champion myself, I can say, is a very good looking champion, but the design is just the design. He also has a sword, Let's see. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 100% if the target has an increased speed buff. So if somebody in arena just went ahead and just placed an increased speed buff, you can just go with this guy and stun them. Places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Place a shield buff on this champion equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. This buff cannot be removed, which is okay. Attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target has a stun debuff. The extra hit is always critical. Steals 50% of the target's turn meter if they are not under a stun debuff. So if you want to steal some turn meter, you're gonna go with the A3, even though it's on a 3-turn cooldown. Not bad, not bad. Increase ally HP in all battles by 25%. Okay, Rowan. I also have this champion not on this account. I have it on a second account. She is doing massive damage. So attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Attacks 3 times at random. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Also, this one is based on attack and speed. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So if you're just booking her, you'll get 100% on a 3 turns cooldown. Increases ally accuracy in faction crypts by 50, which is a great number. Rowan, good champion. Discard the Sigiled. This guy looks very good. His design looks clean. I like him. Also the helmet, very expensive, I believe. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 1 turn. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Also places a shield buff on this champion equal to 25% of their max HP for 2 turns. Places a 60% increased defense buff on and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies. All allies fill this champion's turn meter by 50% whenever they are attacked by an enemy under provoke debuff or increased attack buff. Increase ally defense and faction crypts by 27%. So this guy is not bad. Not the best, but not bad. I also like the weapon with the axe and hammer. Very good. His armor is looking insane. Especially he has lion patterns everywhere. Even the weapon? Okay, not the weapon. The shield, the helmet. Very good looking champion. Ah, my boy Jason Voorhees. So, Mask Fearmonger. This guy looks very good. I believe he is based on Jason Voorhees, since, you know, he has this mask that resembles him. Also, his prized possession right here, which I believe will be the thing with the mother. So, let's see. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit decreases the target's turn meter by 7.5 if the target is under a fear or true fear debuff. Reduces the cooldown of this champion's Taste of Despair passive skill by 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn and a 75% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Has a 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff on 2 enemies for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. 1 true fear debuff will be placed on the enemy with the lowest turn meter, while 1 will be placed on the enemy with the highest turn meter. Okay. Attacks one enemy will ignore 35% of the target's defense if the target is under a fear or true fear debuff. Places a 30% increased speed buff for 2 turns, revive on that buff for 2 turns, and a block debuffs buff for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. Sorry, English. So not bad. He's also based on a lot of fear. Fills this champion's turn meter by 50% whenever an enemy's HP drops below 20%. On a 4 turn cooldown? Not okay, not great, but dang, he looks good. Also, there's the machete, you know. the resemblance of the movie. It's true. Alright, moving on. Stag Knight. Dude, this guy, I cannot believe how good this guy is. His design, insane. Armor, insane. Except for the low parts, you know, and maybe even the bottom. But apart from that, insane looking champion, especially his helmet. Oh god, gee. He is looking great. A great looking champion and a good champion overall. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Attacks all enemy has a 70% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense buff on all and a 50% decreased attack buff for 2 turns. And places a 50% increased accuracy buff on an ally for 1 turn each time this ally has a debuff resisted by an enemy. Good. Knight Errant. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns, will inert 30% of the target's defense. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, resets the cooldown on each champion's skill if the target is killed. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. Damage is increased by 75% if the champion has full HP, and increases ally defense in dungeons by 32%. So this guy is dealing a lot of damage, just judging by his kit. He also looks very good, except for the boots here on the back. He doesn't have a lot of armor here. He might get slashed there. But apart from that, very good look, very cool looking champion. And I think the lack of armor here also represents itself on the defense. From one of the knights on the epic category, I believe he has a very low defense, especially for such a great damage dealer. But as an attack based champion, if this guy is going first, he will nuke somebody. Not the best damage, don't get me wrong, but good damage. Alaric the Hooded. Dude, this guy looks awesome. So I believe he's an assassin since he has 2 weapons, you know. Let's see his kit now. Also, one thing that I looked here, he has another dagger and 2 satchels. I'm not sure, maybe poison vials or something. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5. Decreases the turn meter by a further 3% for each buff on the target. So if the target has a lot of buffs, it will decrease the turn meter. But I'm not sure how that will go against a boss. Maybe this guy is just for a faction creep. Well, a warrior, you know. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target before attacking. Has a 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs instead of if the target has 4 or more buffs. Okay. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff and a 50% decreased accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. And increased attack on faction creeps by 29%. I'm not sure why the A1 is not attack one enemy 2 times, since he has 2 weapons. I believe that should be the case for 2-handed wielders. But yeah, you know, each champion to their own. Very good stats. Very good stats. He's looking good. He's looking very cool, to be honest. As a design, his kit not the best, but his design is very good. Seneschal, let's see. Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns, based on defense and attack. Places a perfect veil buff and a 50% continuous heal buff on an ally for 2 turns. I thought that's all allies. Places a counter-attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. Has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. On all enemies. But if you're just booking this guy, you'll have a 100%. Not the best default attacking guy, especially with the leech. And the leech is 2 turns? Yeah, not the best epic, to be honest. His design looks very good, with the roses, red and brown, gray, white. He's very cool looking. His kit is not normal, to say it like that, for an epic champion. I would say this is more of a kit for a rare champion, not for an epic. Oh well, let's move on. Chancellor Yasmin, Chancellor, yeah, Chancellor, not Chancellor. Her armor design, very good, very refined. Her shield looks awesome. But also the shield just looks like she never went to battle, she just went and yeah, I'm gonna participate and just went to sleep. Attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target has no active buffs. Heals an ally by 40% of their max HP. Heals by 60% instead if the ally has 50% HP or less. Has a 50% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, then places a sleep buff for one turn. All enemies who have active buffs on all enemies who have active buffs. Okay, increase ally speed in all battles by 20%. Not bad, not bad. The aura is very useful. Her base stats, the attack and defense are looking good. The speed is looking very good on this champion. Not sure how. Her design very cool. Not a lot of armor going on here, but she'll definitely have has more. The leather is going okay here, apart from the other girls looking like her with the redesigns, which had only the belly and that's it. Oathbound. I have this champion. I can say he's one of the good champions. He was reworked, and his kit got a bit nerfed because of the rework. So attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a freeze debuff for one turn. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense, attack and defense, even though he's a defense based champion. This was previously attack one enemies 2 times, I believe. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% increased attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Also has a 55% chance of decreasing each target's turn meter by 20%. Attacks at random 4 times. Each attack has a 30% chance of placing a block active skills buff for 2 turns. And the chance of block active skill debuff increases to 100% if the target is under a decreased attack debuff. So this previously was attack one enemy 3 times or attack 3 times at random, and this one was attack an enemy 4 times. Not sure which what, but his kit got very nerfed. He was a very good champion to use against clan boss with a Giant Slayer passive, but now he's just okay. Let's say to arena is okay. Gerhard the Stone. This guy looks like a baron. Not a lot of armor, he's mainly wearing leather, but he looks like a baron, to be honest. The 2 dragons, demons, whatever, fighting on the back of his cape, very good. A gold chainmail, like he's a Gucci boy. Very good. Let's see, attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, has a 40% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn instead, if the target has more than 75% turn meter. Okay, good. Places a 30% increased crit rate buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense, will ignore 50% of the target's defense instead if the target is under an increased defense buff. So this ability on a 3-turn cooldown will deal massive damage. Immune to fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, and stun debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Oh my god, he's good. Increase ally resisting Doom Tower battles by 50%. Okay, he's very good. Archmage Helmet. This champion, very hard to get. Is it worth it? Yes. Look at the design on this guy. He's a battle mage. Not just a simple mage, because he also wears armor and a staff which he can point you on the head if you're just getting too close. Very cool looking champion. Also the spellbook here. A sword here. Oh, maybe a dagger. His design is insane. Attacks one enemy. Fill this champion's turn meter by 10%. Fill the turn meter by 20% if this attack is critical. So you're gonna go with crit on him. Attacks one enemy. Also attacks all other enemies if this attack is critical. The second hit has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. After attacking, decreases the turn meter of each enemy without a stun debuff by 20%. Places a 30% increased speed, a 30% increased crit rate, and a 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies. So if you're just going with this guy in arena, he will smack. Immune to turn meter decreasing effect. Increase ally speed in arena by 17%. So the aura not the best. You can just go with a different champion that has a better speed aura in all battles or maybe arena. But for a turn meter control champion, you can just use this guy. He will deal a lot of damage. Lordly Legionary, very cool looking champion to be honest. Very underestimated. He's very good. It resembles the Dark Soul heroes. But he is a very cool champion with a great sword, a flaming great sword. Not sure how he's not burning his clothes, but whatever. Attacks one enemy 2 times, places an extra hit if the target is under a 50% heal reduction debuff. Places 2 extra hits if the target is under a 100% heal reduction debuff. Attacks one enemy, has a 55% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Decreases the target turn meter by 20% if the decreased speed debuff is placed. Places a 30% reflect damage buff on and a 50% continuous heal debuff buff on all allies for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. This one is on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you're having, let's say, 1 Cold Heart and 4 of these guys, you're just gonna play with Fire Knight like he's a small kid and you're just slapping his little face around. Very good looking champion, very cool kid. Not for a lot of things, but for the Fire Knight, this guy smacks. Horden. Attacks one enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Heal this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted. Places a 50% increased attack buff, a 30% increased crit rate buff, and a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Grants an extra turn. So you're gonna go with this, and then this, and if you have Relentless, you're gonna go with this, and you're gonna do a lot of damage. Increase ally speed and faction scripts by 20%. He's a very cool looking champion. A dual wielding champion, a lot of armor. I like him. I love him, and I appreciate him. Baron. So this is the first legendary. Attacks one enemy. Will attack all remaining enemy with any surplus damage if the target is killed. Has a 10% chance to unlock a striker skill, Sky Piercer, for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy. Places a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. This debuff is guaranteed. Has a 25% chance of unlocking a secret skill, Sky Piercer, for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy. Damage increases according to the number of buffs on this champion. Has a 40% chance to unlock the secret skill, whatever. Sky Piercer. Attack all enemies. Deal pure damage. Will ignore shields and block damage buffs. Increase ally attack in all battles by 33%. So if you have this guy and everybody else is a buffer and a speed, he will just go nuts in the arena. Raglan. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Fill the turn meter of 3 random allies by 50%. Allies can only have their turn meter filled once per turn by this skill. Removes all debuffs on all allies and then heal them. The heal amount is proportional to this champion attack. Revives an ally with 75% HP and a full turn meter on a 2 turns cooldown. Increase ally defense in all battles by 33%. She's a very good reviver, a very good support. Also forgot to mention here, Baron looks insanely good. Silver, gold, blue, and white. Maybe the weapon needs a redesign, but he himself with he also has a small eagle here. Very cute, very cute. But his design looks very good. Next, with the Raglan. She looks like a nun. A battle nun. Also, is this a small shield? I don't know. Looks like something you will slap somebody on the face if they're just getting too close to you. But apart from that, her weapon is looking okay. What I would like to see is like maybe some purple glowing around here and around here. I'm not sure. I'm just adding small particles in my mind. But apart from that, she herself is looking very good. Richthof the Bold. I have this guy. I can say he's good. He has good damage. He has insane good damage. As a design-wise, for a crossbow man, he's looking okay. But crossbow wielders should be more delicate, to be precise. This huge peacock, whatever he's going inside his head here on the helmet, I mean, I'm not sure how this will make you more stealthy, but you know, it's just a design for a video game, it's whatever, but he looks very cool. I'm not sure, oh, is this... I think this is where he places his bolts, even though it looks like he could carry also a sword with him. Not sure, but he is looking very good. Attacks all enemies on the A1. Decreases each target's max HP by 30% of the damage inflicted. Attacks one enemy 3 times each hit. Places a 5% poison debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy. Critical damage increases by 20% for each poison debuff on the target. Stacks up to 100%. So this ability here is the one that nukes people in arena. So I had Kale, I had a Cult Brawler, and I had a different champion. I forgot what. Oh, I think it was the Grave Chiller. I'm not sure. The Grave Chiller was the one that placed poison. Oh, and anyway, I had 3 poisons and this guy. And when I did my poisons and also A3'd with this guy, he just smacked 1 full HP defense champion. So he can do nuke damage, but only for a single target. So it's a single target hitter. On clan boss, insane damage. So you're getting a lot of this guy. The only thing that you will need is a lot of crit damage, to be honest. A lot of crit damage. Increases ally attack and fraction crits by 27%. Septimus. I also have this guy not on this account. I believe on a different account. He is a very good champion, especially in clan boss. So attacks one enemy, grants an extra turn, and resists the cooldown on this champion's Holy Sword skill if the target is killed. This is the Holy Sword. Attacks one enemy, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. Damage increase according to enemy's max HP. So it's attack and enemy max HP. Each attack has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1. Damage inflicted by each attack will be increased by 30% if the enemy's current HP is over 50%. So the more HP the target has, the more damage this guy will do. So if you're going with a team on the clan boss, be the first one to go with Septimus so he can deal the most damage. Increases ally attack in all battles by 23%, which is okay. Lugan the Steadfast. I have this champion. I'm not sure why people are saying. Also, I forgot to mention one thing about this guy. I said he is looking very good. Also, he has a big hat. What are the wings on the helmet? Whatever. But apart from that, his design looks very good. His armor is very good, as expected from a knight. Lugan the Steadfast. He's not bad. Actually, he's not bad. If you just go and build him, I believe you will not regret it. He's a very good support champion. He can carry your team to a lot in this game. Why? Let's go. Attacks one enemy. Heal all allies by 25% of the damage inflicted. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of the max HP for 2 turns. So, if you're having this guy with damage and HP, you're just gonna go right on the enemies. You're gonna heal your guys, shield yourself, and go again. Places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 3 turns. Also places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies for 2 turns. Attack all enemies has a 80% chance of placing a block active skill debuff for 2 turns. And Increases ally HP and faction creeps not available. I use this guy in Arena. My team right now in Arena is with Lugan the Steadfast, with Miscreated Monster, with Skull Crown, and Sile of the Drakes. So this guy is protecting all of them. In case Miscreated Monster or Skull Crown will die, I have Sile of the Drakes so she can heal. So Sile of the Drakes is passive healing. This guy is healing when he's hitting. Miscreated Monster creates shield ally protection in case Lugan is the one that is going down. And Skull Crown just pure damage. I say if you have this guy, give him a chance and test him out. It's very worth it. Hellier, one of the best looking champions to be honest. His skit, attack one enemy increases the champion's defense by 5% if the attack is critical. Stacks up to 20%. Will also heal this champion by 75% of the defense after attacking if their defense is already been increased by 20%. Attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. Transfer all debuffs from all allies to a target enemy, then attacks that enemy with the default skill. Converts this champion resistant into additional accuracy when using this skill. So if you have a lot of resistance and no accuracy, this guy will just say, you know what, let's sweep them just once, you know. Okay, whenever an ally that has 2 or more debuffs is attacked, this champion will absorb 30% of the damage inflicted on that ally. And also increase the resist in all battles by 60. He's already going with resist 110, which can be transferred on accuracy for this skill. Very, very, very powerful champion right here. His design, very good. His design, awful. I'm just kidding. He looks like he went into a lot of battles. He has a good design, but I think he could be more shinier. Maybe just I refine his armor. This guy, yeah, not a lot of battles going on with this guy, but he's looking very good. Benaya, she looks like what was her name? A Little Red Riding Hood. Just went and killed a wolf, and just afterwards she enjoyed killing stuff so much she went into a rampage and was just hired as an assassin. So attacks one enemy, places a 50% continuous heal buff on the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns. Attacks one enemy, heal this champion and the ally with the lowest HP by 10,000 HP. Has a 75% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Heal all allies by 40% of their max HP. Places a block debuff for 2 turns on the champions under increased defense buff. If a champion is fully healed by this skill, also places a shield buff on them for 2 turns equal to 25% of this champion's max HP. Fill the turn meter of all allies by 20% when this champion is killed. Revive this champion with a 75% HP when killed if Conqueror is on the same team. Increase ally speed in all battles by 90%. So as a design, she looks like Little Red Riding Hood just went and became Jack Sparrow's wife. Not sure how this is going on. Yeah, her champion design resembles something related to pirates, not banner lords, not knights. She doesn't look like a knight, she looks like a pirate, to be honest. Even her saber, I believe that's a rapier. Or maybe she's a duelist. A vanguard duelist. Her design looks cute. The rose in the hair looks okay. I don't necessarily like the outfit, to be honest. Not a lot of armor going on. It's okay. Black Knight. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Places a 50% continuous heal buff and a 60% increased defense buff on allies for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown? Oh. Attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the amount of HP this champion has lost. So if you're building this guy as an HP champion, he will do a lot of damage. Places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn if oncoming damage exceeds 50% max HP in 1 attack. On a 1 turn cooldown basically. What? This guy is insanely good. So if you're having a lot of HP, this guy will just smack. Segment the High Shield. So previously talking here, Black Knight is looking okay. Could be better here, especially with the piece on the head. What is going on with this part? Looks like he's a jar of jelly, just waiting to be opened. But this guy, oh my god, this guy is looking very nice. The shield, good. The sword, incredible. I'm not, okay, I can see it. His armor, excellent. What is this? He also has rum and a beer keg. So you're a drinker, huh? You old bastard. Look at your nose, red nose. You're drunk right now as we talk. But apart from that, attacks one enemy, removes any shield buffs, also places a 50% chance of removing one random buff, has a 75% chance of instead when attacking bosses. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a provoked buff for 1 turn, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack for 2 turns. Not bad. Not bad. Place a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns, equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. Also places a 25% strength buff on all allies for 2 turns. Okay. Whenever this champion is attacked, has a 20% chance of decreasing the duration of all buff on the attacker by 1 turn. Has a 40% chance instead when attacked by a boss. There will not be a lot of bosses just placing buffs on themselves. Increases ally defense in Doom Towers battles by 40%. 40%, that's a lot. So this guy, Doom Tower related. Cillian the Lucky. I also have this guy, and I can say he deals a lot of damage. He's missing just the horse. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 35% chance of placing a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Each hit also has a 35% chance of stealing 30% of the target's current turn meter. Attacks one enemy has a 85% chance of placing a block active skill debuff for 4 turns. Also has a 35% chance of placing a block active skill debuff on all other enemies for 1 turn. Attacks one enemy has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Has a 25% chance of placing the stun debuff for 2 turns instead, and stealing 50% of the target's current turn meter. Resets the cooldown of the skill if the target is skilled. Places one of the following buff on this champion for 2 turns at the start of each turn. So you have a chance to get increased attack, block damage, strength, increased crit damage, crit rate. No? Let's see. Oh yeah, I already said the buffs, so it's alright. Increase ally attack in all battles by 25%. Good. So Thalia. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Removes all debuffs from the target ally. Places a block debuff for 2 turns and heal that ally by 75% of their max HP. Heals all other allies by 20% of their max HP and fills their turn meter by 50%. So she's a good turn meter champion. Has a 75% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, then decreases the target turn meter by 10% and fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. So this is repeated, but if they have 5 or more buffs removed, it will be 20-20. And increase magic allies resist in all battles by 50%. Cillian, on the other hand, I forgot to say, he's a very cool looking champion. A very good looking champion. He has the lucky. He's the lucky guy. Thalia, on the other hand, I can say this is one of the first champions that I would say I like the armor. I don't like this. The red leather stuff. Why not go with blue, since her hands are blue? I mean, blue and gold looks okay. Red and gold with this type of pajama party, I'm not sure. Not a fan of it. Not a fan of it. Finally, Lord Chamfer. This guy looks insanely good. He also seemed to be into a lot of battles. He's getting rusted, and his armor is losing the paint. Apart from that, very, very cool looking champion. I'm not sure how he's seeing people with this helmet, but it's okay. Attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense for debuff for 2 turns. So this is just a 45%. No, nothing will increase this. Attacks all enemies, places a 50% decreased accuracy debuff and a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Again, it's good. On a 3-turn cooldown, good. At the start of each turn, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 turns. Will place a 50% decreased speed debuff for 1 turn on whichever enemy attacks this champion. So it's on a 1-turn cooldown for 2 turns. You will always have a shield. Increase ally HP in dungeon by 50%. So if you're going dungeons with this guy, you can have him and Voorhees. We're gonna talk about the high elves. They too will take their time to kill something, but they will definitely kill it. So if you cannot nuke, let's say, level 25 dragon, this guy and Voorhees together will just blast through it. Not the fastest team, but a guaranteed success. Apart from that, now, let's say, who are the best looking champions? From what I can say, on the uncommon side, I believe Axeman. From the common side. From the uncommon side, I believe the best looking champion would be Wordbearer. With this design, with the gold, black, red, yes. From the rare section, I believe the best looking champion would be Mermaid Man. Again, with the brownish dark color gold, his shield is not the best. It looks like he always trips and falls in mud, but the aesthetics, very good. On the epic side, I believe here I'm gonna just go with it against what I said, and I'm gonna say it will be Lordly Legionary. He is very unique as a design, resembles Dark Soul with a flaming sword, everything else. The second position will be Archmage Helmet, but Lordly Legionary by far the best looking in my opinion. And from the legendary, I would say is Hellier. This guy is by far the best looking legendary in the Bannerlord section. So if you have different opinions, if you want different picks, if you have different picks, just leave a comment down below and I will have a look and see what I missed on those champions. But just looking like this, I believe Hellier is the best looking Bannerlords of all of them. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the High Elves. Have a nice day.